Right, welcome back to another live match. We're back at Partridge. Take that off. We're back at Partridge because we caught on something a little bit different Tuesday, meat. So I wanted to come here and have a little go, see whether meat's going to be good. And we've sort of drawn a nice peg for it in the sense that we're out of the wind and I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of stockies here. So I want to see whether we can catch them older fish fishing with baits like meat. So I'm not going to feed a great. I actually caught £100 there last Tuesday or Thursday, so you know this area can chuck weights up. I'm not totally despondent. I've started just off the edge of them reeds. I'm probably going to work my way down towards that rope because I feel like the fish will be more in. They always live in the middle of this straight here to my left. If they're going to be there, they always sit on that 93 peg to my left. Oh, was that a bite? Lack of concentration. It's got a little strung out shotting pattern. 4x10s rig. Tap another 2 bits of meat in. Like, I feel like with this, you've got to be tapping in tiny little bits of meat. The fish just watch it falling through nice and slow. The other option was to fish hard pellets. Like, a few people have been catching on that, but again, it's not a bait that I fish a lot of matches on. I'm more about, you know, I've caught loads of white acres on meat. I do love fishing meat, but it's more, I'm more of a sort of feed micros, feed ground bait, small particles, get the fish rummaging about in your bait, but I just don't feel like it's quite warm enough for that yet. Now my other option, if this line does produce some bites, I can try on that pallet to my right and see if it's any good there. I can also put some ground bait in down that side. Oh, there we go. We normally need the stockies on here to do well, but I'm actually hoping, I'll spin that round, I'm actually hoping we can try and catch some of the better stamp on it. I think this is one of them, yeah. That's exactly what we're looking for. It's probably like £3, I would say. Now what I was going to say there is the other thing is you could throw meat down the middle. You know, if I go on, so we're 2 hours in now, got about £31 I think. Obviously some of these stockies might weigh a bit more, a bit less, but I think I've got £30. Lost a big carp, about £6 across. So basically I've just been trying to rule a few things out. You'll see here I'm not fishing in front of me no more. I threw them maggots in, I had a quick look. Even though I was catching a few fish down the middle, down the edge, I thought I need to have a quick look at it because it feels like the fish are eating meat. Dropped in on that maggot line, rig never even got to the bottom. And it's quite deep here, it's probably like 5 foot, 5.5 foot in the track, so I've got a good depth. I just feel like maggots, I'm going to have to feed very heavy. It's just not going to be the bait, so I've swapped fishing on an angle. I'm just having my first look now on this short line. I might not catch it till later on. I can go across and get an odd bite. Just had a slow 15 minutes across where I'm getting an odd sign but no bites. And when I got broke off that carp, I was fishing 011 and a 16s. Pulling a little bit too hard to be fair. And I got broke, so I stepped up to 015 because I've no bloody 013 to a 16s in 4-inch. And just had a few indications and not proper bites, so again I've just swapped that back to 011 and a 16s. I'll just take my time next time if I hook a big carp. I've had a look on that right hand pallet where I've been pinging a bit of meat, and and I caught one little stocky. Didn't feel like there's a lot of fish that side of my peg, to be honest. All the fish at the minute seem to be down to my left, which is the norm on this little back bit here. They always sit in the space between you to the left. If the wind was going left to right, sometimes they'll sit in this corner to my right, but with the wind blowing out, I just don't fancy any fish being to my right. Odd one, obviously, but the majority of them to my left. So settled into my match now. I feel like I can get bites across if need be. I can fish this short line on an angle here, hopefully later in the day, and hopefully I can get some bites down that left hand edge. It's a little bit deeper down that left hand edge, so I'd like to have about 2.5 foot. I've probably got 3.5 foot, which is good for fish settling. If I get the right stamp fish in my peg, it'll be nice, but when the stockies are there, I did have a spell before where the fowl looked 2 in 2 chucks. A little line of them. So I just rested it, went back across, had a look around a few lines, just sort of ruling things out really. I've ruled that right pallet out, I've ruled maggots out, I'm settling on 3 lines now, so I've got this meat short line, meat across where I originally started. I've also got the option of going a little bit further, but I feel like if the fish are going to feed, they'll come up to me anyway, so I'll just probably stick with that 13 metre line across to the left, just on the edge of that clump of grass. And then obviously this left hand edge I think is going to be my best line. I can get bites there. I sort of want to try and clatter them there last 2 hours if I can, so I sort of come off it just to sort of build it up again, get a few fish in the area. I'm quite surprised this ain't gone under. I've had 2 liners, but the main thing is I can sit and wait for a bite, whereas that maggot line, there's just so many little rudd. They're a nightmare. I think that's what happens when you get a lake like this that's full of little nuisance fish and you can't feed how you want to feed. You know, in an ideal world, I just want to be throwing like 15 maggots twice. If you do that, you're just going to get hammered on the way down every chuck. If the F1s turn up, they can push them out, but there we go, that's our first bite there. If the F1s turn up, they can push them out. This feels weird, like it's not fighting. A big carp. Don't know it's up yet, maybe. Orange hydro. I think it's a good fish. Excuse me. Trying not to put pressure on him and wake him up. Try and glide him in if I can. He's woke up now. Bugger. Head just turned his head at last minute. It's common about 4 or 5 pound, I think. That's another thing with this meat, is like you won't catch many of these fish fishing with maggots. When you're fishing meat or hard pellets, you do get a few more of these. You don't normally get them in the deep water though, you'd expect them in the shallow water, but come on. There we go. A bit paranoid then because I've already lost one about this big. He's probably 6 pound in. So that'll give me 36 pound-ish, just over 2 hours in. Better than I expected. Hoping